All right, so you're getting ready for a transport health and safety inspector interview. That's awesome. It's a field where you can make a real difference, you know, impacting public safety on like a huge scale. We've got a ton of resources from RoleCatcher to help you just nail this interview.
Yeah, it's really interesting how much this role has actually evolved. It's not just hard hats and like clipboards anymore. Think data security and cybersecurity risks, even ergonomics. It's all about protecting entire systems from nuts and bolts to the people running them.
You're so right. It's a much wider scope than I think most people even realize. So let's look into RoleCatcher's career guide and some of the common interview questions they gave us. First up, tell us about your experience in transport health and safety. Seems pretty simple, but how can someone really make their answer pop?
This is your time to show off your passion and your expertise. Instead of just listing past jobs, think of a specific project where you made a difference. Maybe you found a hazard and stopped a big accident, or improved a safety procedure and things ran smoother. Remember, quantifiable results are always impressive. Like, do your actions actually reduce accidents or downtime?
Okay, so instead of saying I did safety inspections, I could say I revamped the safety checklist for our fleet, and that led to 15% fewer maintenance incidents.
Exactly. The interviewer wants proof of your impact. They're looking for someone who's proactive, analytical, and results-oriented.
Okay, cool. So then they follow up with, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced in this field, and how did you beat them?
Here, you can show off how you solve problems and bounce back. Think of a time when you dealt with something tricky. Maybe pushback on new safety protocols or really hard investigation. How did you tackle the problem? What steps did you take?
So it's about showing that you can handle the tough stuff, think on your feet, and come up with creative solutions.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to show off your people skills, too. Communication, collaboration, diplomacy, they're all really important in this role.
Makes sense. This next one's a bit more technical. How do you prioritize your workload when you're doing inspections?
This is a good time to impress them by mentioning a specific risk assessment method you've used, like the failure mode and effects analysis, or FMEA.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's that way of figuring out potential problems and what could happen, right?
Got it. Using a structured approach like FMEA shows that you understand how to weigh risks and prioritize inspections based on what could happen.
So instead of I focus on the most important areas first, I could say I use FMEA to analyze potential failures, assign risk scores, and then I use my resources in the riskiest areas.
Precisely. Shows you're not just going through the motions, you've got a strategic, data-driven approach to safety inspections.
Love it. This next one seems like a chance to show off how well you know the industry. How do you stay current on the latest developments in transport health and safety?
Don't just say, I read regulations. Show how proactive you are. Are you subscribed to industry publications like Safety Plus Health Magazine or Journal of Occupational and Environmental Hygiene? Do you belong to organizations like the International Society of Safety Professionals or ISSP? Mentioning those shows you're dedicated to constantly learning.
It's all about going above and beyond and actively finding new knowledge and best practices, right?
Exactly. Shows you're passionate about staying ahead and always learning. Now about a question that can be a little tricky. Tell us about a time you had to deal with a company that wasn't following the rules.
Ooh, that feels like a potential minefield.
You're right. It needs a careful touch. You want to show that you can enforce rules and make sure people follow them, but you also don't want to sound aggressive or like you can't bend.
So how do you find that balance?
Focus on your communication and problem solving. Describe the situation clearly, what was the exact issue. Then talk about what you did to solve it. Did you talk openly and respectfully with the company? Did you give them clear instructions and help them meet the requirements? Did you try to find a creative fix that worked for both the company and the safety rules?
So instead of dwelling on what the company did wrong, I should talk about how I proactively and collaboratively helped them become compliant.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to see that you can handle tough situations smoothly and effectively. They're looking for a problem solver, not just a rule enforcer.
Makes sense. This next one is interesting. How do you ensure that transport companies are keeping up their safety standards over time? It seems like it's looking at the long-term picture of safety.
It totally is. It's about showing that you're not just focused on one-time inspections, but that you're committed to creating a culture of safety that lasts. Talk about your methods for checking compliance, like doing follow-up inspections, analyzing safety records, or requiring regular updates on their safety practices.
So it's about making sure everyone's accountable and things are always getting better.
Exactly. You want to show that you're invested in long-term safety improvements and that you get how important it is to keep things compliant. Now let's switch gears and talk about something that can really give you an edge. RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. How can AI help me get ready for this interview?
Well, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze how you answer common interview questions and give you feedback that's tailored to the specific job you want. It's like having a virtual interview coach right there with you.
Wow, that's amazing. So it can tell me if I'm using too much jargon or rambling or missing the main points the interviewer is looking for?
Precisely. It can even look at your tone of voice and body language, helping you come across as confident and professional. It's like having your own personal coach guiding you through the whole thing.
Wait, really? It can analyze body language even though it's just audio.
Well, not actual video, but it can pick up on things like your pace, your pauses, and how your voice goes up and down to give you tips on how to sound more confident and engaging. It's pretty impressive.
Wow. I'm definitely going to have to check this out. But it's not just about sounding good, right? The content of my answers still needs to be strong.
Absolutely. And that's where RoleCatcher's expertise in this specific field really comes in. The AI is trained on this massive database of successful interview answers specifically for transport health and safety inspector roles. So it knows exactly what recruiters are looking for, what words to use, and what kind of examples really hit home.
It's like having access to the combined knowledge of all these experienced professionals in this field, all packed into one feedback tool.
Exactly. And the best part is you can practice as much as you want, refine your answers, and really build your confidence until you're completely ready for the real deal.
That's incredible. Sounds like RoleCatcher's AI is a game changer for anyone going after a career in this area. But let's not forget about the human side of things. In the end, it's your passion, your experience, and your dedication to safety that will really stand out in the interview.
Absolutely. Technology can definitely help you prepare, but it's your genuine self that's going to connect with the interviewer.
Speaking of connecting with the interviewer, let's tackle a question that often trips people up. What methods do you use to make sure transport companies are following health and safety regulations?
This is your time to show off your practical experience and your understanding of how things are enforced. Don't just say, I follow the regulations. Get specific. Have you done full safety audits? Created and implemented safety plans? Trained employees on specific regulations?
So instead of saying, I enforce the rules, I could talk about a time when I worked with a company to create a custom safety plan that addressed their specific risks and challenges.
Exactly. That shows you take a collaborative approach and can find solutions that work for everyone. Remember, a good transport health and safety inspector isn't just there to enforce rules. They're a problem solver who's dedicated to helping companies improve their safety culture.
Okay, this next one sounds like it could be a bit of a curveball. Tell us about a time when you had to make a tough decision about safety and how you handled it.
This is where your integrity and your ability to make sound judgments really come into play. The interviewer wants to see if you can make the hard choices, even under pressure, and stick to what you believe is right.
So what kind of example would work here?
Think about a time when you had to make a choice that wasn't easy or popular, but it was the right thing to do for safety. Maybe you had to stop a project, issue a citation, or stand up to someone in a position of authority.
So it's about showing I'm willing to put safety first,
Yeah.
even when it's hard or inconvenient.
Exactly. It's about having a strong moral compass and the guts to do what's right, even when it's not easy.
This next one seems focused on the people side of things. How do you handle difficult or uncooperative people during an inspection? I imagine being diplomatic and having good communication skills are super important here.
Absolutely. In this role, you're going to be dealing with people from all walks of life. And not everyone is going to be happy with what you have to say. You need to show you can stay calm, professional, and persuasive, even when people are pushing back.
So what are some ways to deal with those tough personalities?
Really listening is key. Make sure you get their concerns and their point of view before offering solutions. Try to find common ground and highlight that you both want the same thing, safety. Use I statements to express your worries without pointing fingers. And always be respectful and professional, even if the other person is getting upset.
It's all about de-escalating the situation, building a connection and finding a way to work together to find a solution.
Exactly. Remember, you're not there to punish or criticize. You're there to educate, guide, and ultimately create a safer work environment for everyone.
This next question seems pretty broad. How do you make sure safety standards are being met across different types of transport services? The transport industry is so diverse, from trucking to rail to maritime to aviation, each one with its own unique challenges.
Absolutely. This question is meant to see how well you understand the scope of the transport industry and if you can adapt your approach to different sectors.
So how can I show them I'm versatile and know about different types of transportation?
Talk about specific regulations or best practices for each sector. For instance, if you're familiar with the federal motor carrier safety regulations for trucking, mention that. If you've got experience in maritime safety and know about the International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code, bring that up. The point is to show that you get the little differences between each sector and can use your knowledge effectively.
So it's about demonstrating I'm not just a specialist in one area, but a well-rounded professional who understands the whole transport industry.
Exactly. You want to come across as someone who can jump right in and be effective in any transport environment, whether it's inspecting a trucking fleet, a railway yard, a shipping port, or an airport.
This next one seems to be looking ahead. How do you see the role of a transport health and safety inspector changing in the next 5 to 10 years?
This is where you show off your ability to think ahead, your understanding of industry trends, and your commitment to always learning. Think about the new technologies that are changing the transport sector, like autonomous vehicles, drones, and AI-powered logistics systems. How will these innovations affect safety? What new problems will they bring? And how will you, as a transport health and safety inspector, adapt to this rapidly changing landscape?
So it's not enough to just know the current regulations and practices. I need to be thinking about future trends and developing the skills and knowledge to stay ahead of the game.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to see that you're looking forward and dedicated to lifelong learning and professional growth. They want someone who can not only enforce existing safety standards, but also help shape the safety landscape of the future.
This is all super exciting, but also a little overwhelming. It's clear this role needs a lot of different skills and knowledge, and it's always changing.
You're right, it's tough, but also incredibly rewarding. And with the right preparation, you can definitely succeed in this field and truly make a difference.
Speaking of preparation, let's go back to RoleCatcher's AI tools for a second. You said before they can analyze my answers and give feedback, but can they also help with other parts of the job search, like my resume and cover letter?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI-powered resume builder can help you create a resume that highlights the skills and experiences that are most relevant for this specific role. It can even analyze job descriptions and suggest keywords and phrases to include, making your resume more attractive to recruiters and those applicant tracking systems. And for your cover letter, it can give you personalized suggestions to tailor your message to each specific employer, showing them you understand their needs and you're excited about the opportunity.
So it's like having a personal career coach and writing assistant all in one.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI is designed to empower you through the whole job search, from putting together your application to practicing your interview answers, giving you the confidence and the tools to really stand out from the crowd.
That's amazing. I'm starting to see how these AI tools can give job seekers a real advantage in today's competitive market.
They absolutely can. And when it comes to preparing for a transport health and safety inspector interview, they can be incredibly valuable. This role needs such a specific set of skills and knowledge, and RoleCatcher's AI is built to help you show off your expertise in this area.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions. This one's a bit more philosophical. Why are you passionate about transport health and safety?
Ah, the passion question. This is where you let your genuine enthusiasm shine. Think about what first got you interested in this field. Was it something personal, a desire to make a difference, a fascination with how complex transportation systems are?
So instead of just saying I'm passionate about safety, I could talk about a specific event that inspired me to pursue this career, or a personal value that drives my commitment to this field.
Exactly. Let your personality and your story come through. The interviewer wants to see that you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for a calling.
This next one seems to focus on your professional development. What are some key certifications or professional development opportunities you're pursuing in this field?
This is your chance to show that you're committed to continuous learning and professional growth. RoleCatcher's Career Guide mentions some great certifications, like the NEBOSH International General Certificate in Occupational Health and Safety, or the Certified Transportation Safety Professional, CTSP designation. These certifications prove you have a deep understanding of safety principles and best practices, and employers really value them.
So I should mention any certifications I have now and any I'm working towards.
Absolutely. Shows you're invested in your career and want to stay at the forefront of the industry. And don't forget to mention any other professional development opportunities you've taken advantage of, like going to conferences, workshops, or online courses.
It's about showing that I'm not satisfied with what I know now and that I'm always looking to learn and grow.
Exactly. In a field as dynamic as transport, health and safety, continuous learning is key.
Okay, let's tackle one more interview question before we finish up. What are your salary expectations? This one always makes me nervous.
I get it. It can be awkward to talk about money, but it's a necessary part of the job search.
So how do I answer this without underselling myself or asking for too much?
Research is key. Use resources like RoleCatcher's salary data to see what the average salary range is for transport health and safety inspectors in your area. And consider your level of experience.
So instead of just throwing out a number, I should base my expectations on industry standards and my own qualifications.
Exactly. And be ready to back up your salary expectations, highlight your skills experience, and any unique qualities you bring to the table.
It's about knowing my worth and being able to explain it confidently and professionally.
Precisely. And remember, salary isn't the only thing to consider. Think about the whole compensation package, including benefits, vacation time, and opportunities for professional development.
It's about finding the right fit for my career goals and my life.
Absolutely. And with that, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've gone over common interview questions, explored industry insights, and even touched on the power of AI tools like RoleCatcher.
I feel like we've given our listeners a complete toolbox for acing their transport health and safety inspector interviews.
I agree. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Think about this: landing the job is just the beginning.
Yeah, it feels like that.
The world of transport is constantly changing, self-driving trucks, drone deliveries, maybe even space tourism. As a transport health and safety inspector, you'll be right there making sure all those new things are safe.
It's like science fiction coming to life.
Exactly. And that's what makes this career so exciting. It's not just about following the rules, it's about shaping the future of safety in a world that's changing really fast.
So for anyone listening who is feeling inspired to go after this career, what's your final piece of advice for them?
I'd say go for it and embrace the challenge. This field is always moving forward, so being curious and always wanting to learn more is crucial. Dive into those resources, practice those interview questions, and most importantly, find that passion for safety that will make you a real leader in the future of transport.
It's not just about getting the job, it's about making a real difference. And with the right preparation and the right mindset, you can definitely do that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of transport health and safety inspectors.
It was great being here. Best of luck with your interview prep.